little pauses to me, man, that shit sounds so incredible to me. I want to get back to the song. This shit is nasty.
I'm gonna start this back from
Nasty.
the beginning. Charismatic frontman can do a lot.
Yeah, boy.
Can do a lot for a band. They can make a band and kill a band.
Nasty though.
That
is
no
nasty.
wrong to me.
That is nasty.
The riffs and my man Peter Steele's voice.
Really, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me, guys. So, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. And it's never mind. Keep it going, George. just keep it going. Check us out on Patreon, guys, where we give you our exclusive access to all of our videos, 186 videos and counting.
Bangers too, though. Bangers. You know, nothing too shabby. I mean, I don't know, like a Led Zeppelin marathon. We got Metallica on there, some Megadeth stuff. You know, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there, man.
What's up, guys? Your boys are back. I'm Ryan, my man, George.
What's up, guys? How you living out there? Shout out to the free thinkers. Shout out to, of course, everybody that's been following us on Defter Radio. That's DEAF2 Radio. That's our Instagram. Make sure you guys follow us there.
As always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure it's set to all so you can notify with all our videos as we drop them. Up-and-coming artists, make sure you check the link in the description. We'll do about 60 seconds of your song in front of one of our up-and-coming videos to get you some exposure. So make sure you check that out. The Cars. This is a band that we haven't covered, right?
We have not covered the house, the cars. I said the house. The car and the house, right? You know, the whole shebang. We have not covered the Cars, man. First time reaction to this band. And I guess this is just one of those bands where because we've heard, I forgot who we responded to. We had said that we heard Just What I Needed. We definitely, I think it was a Vidork, shout out to Vidork. I think we had said we heard Just What I Needed when we saw the request on Patreon for that song. So, and I guess we got the feeling that we probably have heard something from them. It's just one of those bands that's just such a big band that, again, it just falls into the category of like, I'm sure we've heard something and then we just move on because this has been more of an exploratory channel. But Drive, I'm not sure if we've heard Drive. I don't know. It's got a lot of views, so probably. But we just thought that at a certain point, man, we got to touch everybody. Like, I think Elton John. We need to get to Elton John.
That's true.
But we've heard songs from Elton John, so I think we're like, oh, whatever. We've heard shit from Elton John. It's Elton John. But no, that doesn't mean that we ignore him and not put him on the channel. He's an extremely big deal. So we got to get to Elton John. Give us some suggestions from Elton John. The Cars were an American rock band in Boston, formed in '76, emerging from the new wave scene in the late 1970s. They were at the forefront of the merger of the 70s guitar-oriented rock with the new synthesizer-oriented pop that became popular in the 1980s. Robert Palmer, music critic from the New York Times and Rolling Stone, described the Cars' musical style as they have taken on some important but desperate contemporary trends, punk minimalism, the labyrinth synthesizer and guitar textures of art rock, the 50s rockabilly revival, and power pop, it looks like. The Cars sold 6 million copies and appeared on Billboard 200 the album chart for 139 weeks. So that's awesome. They had 4 top 10 hits. Shake It Up, You Might Think, Drive, which we're doing. Tonight She Comes, and the band won Video of the Year for You Might Think at the first MTV Video Music Awards in '84. Wow. Cool, man. Cool.
139 weeks of the Billboard 200.
Crazy. Let's get to it, man. Big time band we haven't touched, man. Classic rock. The Cars. Drive. Yeah, it might be that way.
That's what it's called. Rocky Home.
Yep. Who's gonna tell you when it's too late?
Oh, okay.
Who's gonna tell you things aren't so great? Can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Who's gonna pick you up when you fall? Who's gonna hang it up when you call?
gonna keep these motherfuckers
to
like
your dreams.
might be on something.
Yeah, who's gonna plug their ears when you
Go ahead,
scream?
Ryan. I like the theory right there.
Yeah, because obviously we heard the song.
We've heard it.
I don't know if you heard us talking over it. I'm like, who's gonna drive you home? That's what the shit should be titled. And then I would have been like, oh yeah, I've heard that. But I'm kind of deciding. I'm like, is he like talking shit? Because is this is like a love song? Like he's like, I love you because I want to be that person that's going to take you home and and be there with you when it's late and tell you when things are great? Or is he like pissed because someone is, has done some really disrespectful shit to him and he like, well, who's gonna do all this shit for you? Because I'm the one that's doing all. Ain't nobody gonna do the shit like I do.
Right.
Who's gonna do that? Matter of fact, who's gonna drive you home? Get the fuck out now. No, I'm just joking.
Literally.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Literally. Who's gonna drive you home? Uber doesn't exist at this time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think you're on to something, man. I think that this is a just a realistic depiction of relationships. Like you just think that it's the grass is greener on the other side. I gotta put up with a lot of shit from you. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna tell you things aren't so great? Life, that's not how relationships work, man. Things aren't perfect. The fact that I'm able to put up with some of the stuff I put up with or can tell you something like this is really what separates me from the typical dude. I don't think you realize probably what you have of me. You know what I mean? I make sacrifices or whatever. You can kind of interpret it how you want. So I think it's interesting. It comes off the way it sounds, like a traditional sappy love song.
Yeah.
But when you get into the lyrics,
Like, you might be talking shit. I have been the corporate of the relationships that I've been in my life and the people that I've talked to about relationships. I feel like people confuse happiness with love. I really believe that's a big misconception, man, because I feel like, women watch these dumbass movies when Harry met Sally and, the Notebook and this and all this other crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not love. You know what I'm saying? And when people say, oh, you it's love at first sight because you have this feeling and stuff like that. Dude, sometimes I feel like I love people and sometimes I feel like I don't really love people. So to me, and this is just my interpretation, I don't think love is feelings. I think love is what you do. I do the shit because I love you, not because I feel like doing it, not because I feel like this. You know what I mean? I do it because I love you. I wash your clothes because I love you. I pay the bills because I love you. You know what I'm saying? I take care of you when you sick and shit and you throwing up because I love you, not because I feel like doing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
you inconvenience yourself for the people you love. I've always said that.
You know what I'm saying?
Great point.
That's what this reminds me of. I know I kind of went on a rant there, but that's what this kind of reminds me of. Like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Who's gonna be there when you fall? Who's gonna be there when you do it? It's me. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's gonna do that for you. You know what I'm saying? And say that they love you. So
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's kind of what that sounds like to me.
People romanticize love, right? They think that just because you love someone, right, that it doesn't mean that there can't be conflict. Oh no, there's conflict. You know what I'm saying? You are not going to always agree. You are going to have your disagreements, and it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, this is cool, man, because it caught me off guard. The lyrics, it caught me off guard when you had mentioned. Is he talking shit? I'm like, oh, you know what? I was in my head. I was in a mode of, okay, yeah, typical '80s ballad love song. Nah, he's saying some real shit. All right, let's keep it going.
Who's gonna pay attention to your dreams? Yeah, who's gonna plug their ears when you scream? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
Yeah. Who's gonna drive you home?
Yeah, I was just telling George, I think that's it.
But now, right?
Yeah, but now, who's going to drive you home? That's it. That's all. It's done. You know what I'm saying?
Good luck finding that.
Because
is
I
what he's
can't
saying.
go on thinking nothing's wrong. You can't, this shit is done. You know what I'm saying?
when you shake? Who's gonna come around when you break? You can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Oh, you know you can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Who's gonna drive you home tonight?
Yeah. It's gotta have been like one of them 80s Tom Cruise movies or something at some point,
Oh,
too.
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
pretty sure this was in Cocktail or some shit? Who knows? I'm sure this was in a lot of movies.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've never listened to that song from start to finish, but I heard enough of it to say, yeah, I heard that song.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, interesting, man. I don't know, man. It didn't sound bad to me. I think he stayed in pocket. He didn't really try to do too much vocally. Who's gonna drive you home? And just nice, soft delivery in the vocals. I thought again, I'm a sucker for them. What many people call cheesy synthesizers. I think it shows character in the '80s.
It does, though. It is.
And I think it transports you back to a different time where people were experimenting with just different sounds and different vibes, and it gives you a different feeling when you listen to it, man. So I thought he sounded pretty good. I thought the song sounded pretty good. I don't know if it's playlist, but I think it works. And I see why it worked. And I thought it was real. I just thought, like, as we started to kind of get into the lyrics, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Because I think you get to a point in a relationship where people don't realize maybe what you've done and what they have with you and what they've built with you, and maybe they can start taking you for granted, and they don't realize all the shit that you put up with to make it work. And I think he was bringing that to that person's attention. Like, good luck finding another dude like me. Yeah. I don't think you realize like what I brought to the table, but good luck, you'll see.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Who's gonna drive you home?
Who's gonna drive you home? Immediately.
Well, obviously, we heard it, man, but I was really impressed by, not impressed, but I was really caught off guard by the lyrics, if we are, deciphering those lyrics correctly. But it's just a time frame, man. And I feel like at that time, because this is before my time too, I just feel like this is just what the sound was. If you had anything that kind of resembled that, I felt like you had a hit, during this time frame.
Yep.
So I would like to see what was creative, man, in the 80s. What do you think was creative? Was pushing boundaries that was still hot in the 80s? I would like to know if y'all can come up with some recommendations. That was like, yeah, this was incredible, but it was just crazy different. And maybe I'm just maybe I know some of these songs are just escaping me right now. But that's what I would like to hear, because I feel like every 80s song, I'm like, yep, that sounds like the 80s. Yep, that sounds like this song. That sounds like that one. And I feel like if you made something that anything that was within that realm and close to that sound, it was a hit. It was it.
We've listened to a few pop songs, but Metallica existed in the 80s. That shit doesn't sound nothing like Metallica.
That's
so
true.
I feel like we marginalize the 80s too much. That's what I'm saying.
That's
I think
true.
when people think
That's
of the
true.
80s, they're not really thinking of the full scope of the 80s. But it was funny. It made me think of like the New Jack's swing sound with Bobby Brown and guys like groups like Guy. Like, I feel like that's some shit that we would probably I know that's some shit that we both like.
Yeah.
But I can see other people looking at that shit like that sounds like ridiculous. Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's the song from that I like? Here's a song that I love. Right. This is a New Jack Swing early '90s R&B song, but I can hear the elements that I think would really turn people off. Like, man, get this bullshit out of here. Right? Just like kind of like what you guys say with the 80s, but I fuck with it. I think it's cool because it captures a certain time period of fun and dancing and skating. Like back when skating rinks was hot, bowling alleys and parties and shit. I just know what this was and the feeling that was surrounding this sound, right? And what it was about. But I'm going to play a little bit of it.
That up. Oh.
It's old as hell.
Girl, when
That's super old.
It's so old.
This is the shit.
This is shit though. But you can also hear how someone can hear the instruments and shit. Yeah. The metalheads is like, man, get the fuck out of here.
But I get it though. I get why it's like this.
You know, this is cool, but yeah.
Yeah, that was
But when you listen to it, like if you take yourself out of your own bias, right? And I listen to that song, I can hear metalheads of people, not all metalheads. I know there's a lot of metalheads that love all music, that know hip hop, that I know before y'all jump out the window. We're not speaking on exceptions. We're speaking for the rules. We're speaking on the rule, man. Yeah. Most metalheads that I know, that I've ran across, are not gonna know about Guy. And y'all know that. Y'all know I know what I'm talking about. They're not gonna know about a lot of hip hop, R&B, or whatever. So most metalheads and rockheads that are like all about metal would hear some shit like this, and be like, that's cheesy as hell. But people who are immersed in that and are in the know that was the shit. They know, and I just feel like that happens a lot with 80s for a lot of people. I'm just like, I feel like that shit wasn't just popular for no reason. Like I know that people who grew up around that time know that shit hit, you know. And I just happened to be one of those people that didn't really. I'm born in the 80s, but I didn't really. That wasn't my era. But it just appeals to me, and I can kind of like identify why that works. But also, this doesn't define the 90s. The 90s had everything. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, MJ was still doing this thing in the 90s. We still had Whitney Houston. We had then Nirvana and them was doing their thing. So I think we just, because that shit was larger than life in the 80s, I think we sort of marginalized it. But even within that world, dude, that was some of the most fun, cool shit ever, man.
You're right.
So shout out the Guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cars, man.
Yeah,
and
man.
shout out to everybody that requested the Cars, man. We could definitely get back to them, but maybe a song, probably maybe a slightly deeper cut.
Yeah.
We probably heard some other songs from them as well. And maybe we can get something else knocked out from them in the future. All right, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed that, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And also, guys, check out our Patreon channel. If you're interested, it will allow you to get exclusive access to our content. The link for that will be in the description. I'm George. That's Ryan. Las Vegas. We out.